Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, yeah.
All right, welcome to Mohr Stories. Brian, thank you for coming. Brian Posehn, as Mark Cohen would say. Brian Posehn.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
Third mic, Nicole Every Cox Moore, Angie on the Wheels of Steel, Matthew Zachary, show contributor. First of all, it's hot as balls out there, and I appreciate you making the trek to the west side from the valley.
It's nice and breezy over here.
It's a breeze
where I live.
It is a breezy 80 right now, and you're in the you're in Encino.
Yeah.
Could you give out your address on the show?
Sure. Let's.
Sure. Just we'll bleep it out. It's fine. So first, everybody go to Amazon through jmohr.com and buy Fart and Wiener Jokes.
Please.
Not the Brian Posehn DVD. I just want you to randomly look for Fart and Wiener Jokes and make that happen. Here, Brian Posehn at the Brian Posehn, Posehn, and his tour dates are on brianposehn.com. Cam. I'm in Chicago.
Yeah.
So far,
you can find him there
so
too.
Far,
you can find him. So far, so terrible, JJ. .cam. You can find him there.
That's an O.
Star of Comedians of Comedy. My wife and I have watched that. Without exaggerating, we've watched that 6 times, right?
Really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
You guys set the bar pretty high.
Oh, thanks.
It makes us tremendously happy.
Oh,
And
nice.
we actually went to see you in Vegas with
Yeah, I
Sarah
remember.
Silverman, Beardo, and Weirdo, which I thought was weird that you went as Sarah Silverman.
Right.
I thought that was bizarre choice of you.
You have less hair.
Uh-huh.
According to Sarah.
That was very strange to see you guys in the front row.
We didn't mean to be.
Yeah,
I still remember that show because not often do you play to other comics in the front row. You always play to them in the back. You hear your buddy in the back going, "Ha!"
That's funny.
Not laughing,
Instead,
just going, "That was funny." Yeah.
There's my ex-neighbor and another comedian. We used to live together or next to each other.
No, we can just come out of the closet now. Brian and I were next door neighbors in the house that Dave Rath built.
You lived with Barry Katz, and I lived with Dave Rath.
And Doug Benson, Todd Glass. And Todd Glass was on the podcast.
Benson kind of lived there after the earthquake.
So it's kind of like the facts of life.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
So who would that make me?
A hodgepodge of
I was like
Motley
Joe.
Crue.
I was like Joe. I was
the fat one and Tootie.
That really is in my show notes. It really is. I'm like, how do I work in how he was the fat one and Tootie? Natalie.
Done.
Right.
Was Natalie your favorite person on Facts of Life?
Mindy
no,
Kaling?
the one, I won't even get into it.
It's not Mindy Kaling.
The one.
Mindy Kaling's the Indian actress.
The friend who came on, it was a comedian with cerebral palsy.
That's my wife.
Terry, yeah, that was my favorite.
I know her whole act.
For example, really?
Well, a lot of it. No, like
it was all jokes about her having cerebral palsy.
No,
right?
I know what you're thinking. It's an earthquake. No, it's not an earthquake. This is how I always talk. I know what else you're thinking. I had too much to drink. Nope. This is just me.
This is how I wish every punchline was.
It's way funnier when you don't sell the cerebral palsy, too.
I wish every punchline was, this is how I always talk.
Like a charm.
Right.
No, I don't have cerebral palsy.
This is how I always talk.
I love that in her act, somehow an earthquake makes you slur your speech.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, Blair. It's not an earthquake.
Honey, you weren't here.
I didn't think it was an earthquake.
For like the 92 one.
Don't worry.
You should have heard me. I was a slurring mess. The 92 earthquake.
What do you do during an earthquake, Brian Posehn?
Stop, drop, and roll.
I lived next to you during the big one, the big
I wasn't
LA
here.
one. You
I've
weren't
never
here.
really been here during a big earthquake. Knock wood, but I got my fingers crossed.
I smoked at the time, and so Rath and I grabbed our weed first. It's 4 a.m, and we both grabbed our own weed and then met downstairs outside.
Mrs.
And then
Garrett.
smoked at 4 a.m.
With
like
Mrs.
a couple of idiots.
With Charlotte Ray.
Yeah. But
why the weed? Like, that was the most
that was
valuable
the thing.
That was the most valuable thing.
Well,
you
if
had.
I got to ride this thing out, I might as well be high.
And what better way to ride out the earth moving under your feet than to be high as balls?
Right.
But when you're smoking a ton of dope, it is like everything makes sense that way.
Yeah. I woke up, and that was the first thing I thought of. Like, oh, shit, we're going to die. And then, oh, better grab that.
Where's my grass?
Yeah.
Going back
I
to
need
the
a
Vegas
doorway
gig.
and my bong.
Stand in the doorway. If only I get a doorway bong.
We went outside, which is the horrible idea when you're on Laurel Canyon. Like, that house could have slipped off right over us.
And all the electrical wires. And
Yeah.
I found a cliff that seemed
I found a doorway bong
ultra slippery.
and a cliff.
And an ice rink.
And Dave
on a
Rath went and did an ice rink.
Yes.
And Dave Rath just kept going, no, it's going to be, no.
We're going to be all right, buddy.
No,
Don't worry
it's okay.
about it.
No, Todd's down. Todd's under his bed.
No.
Todd's under his bed.
Let's go see what Barry's doing.
Well, okay. Yeah. No. Well, let's get Jay. He'll help us. What was that thing in Vegas? It was the Las Vegas Comedy Festival?
Yeah.
And that's where
Kind of redundant.
that's where Zach Galifianakis came out at the end in an Annie suit and lip sync tomorrow, and he had a giant easel, and he kept like North Korea, South Korea, IKEA. I want to start a revolution, but I've just bought a hammock, and it was
What to do.
And then Dane Cook's not funny. Did
Dane
he
Cook's
end on
not.
that?
I'll tell you what he ended on. He ended on. I hope Dick Cheney's faggot daughter stabs him in his heart. He bows, walks off stage.
Curtsied in his dress.
Oh yeah, that's right. Excuse me. Curtsied, walks off stage, comes back out, rips the last piece of paper, and we're all standing up going ape shit. And then the last piece of paper said, "Thanks for the standing ovation."
Nice.
I was like, that's a neat way to hedge your bets. If no one stands, don't come back out. If you do have to come back out, have it already geared up for yourself.
I've never had a closer like that.
I would guess that even if they didn't stand, he would pull it because then they would. If you said thanks for the standing ovation, that would prompt said audience to go, oh, I stand now.
I've never had a closer that strong. My act just sort of ends. I just run out of jokes.
You throw it on
well,
the mic.
that was an hour.
Do you ever throw the mic down?
Walk off.
No, but I've come close. I put the mic in the mic stand 8 minutes before I was done once.
Out of anger and rage.
You're
home.
such a kind guy that to you, like, the revolution began, like, I came up 8 minutes shy, man. I showed them. I was 36 minutes into my show, and I said, you know what, I'm done.
No, it actually was a big deal. Like, the club manager was totally pissed, because they hadn't even dropped the checks yet. Which is my least favorite.
Galapagos gigglers, Brian.
My least favorite part of stand-up is the check dropping.
And there's no way around it.
No, not when you're headlining.
Yeah, no, it is really bizarre that right when you're rounding third as the headliner, they're like, huh? What was your, wait, whoa, what'd you get?
I didn't get taquitos.
It's the worst.
No, you had taquitos, baby.
I did not get taquitos.
I like how
I get real quiet on purpose.
You're
so
smart.
They have to fucking listen.
I love watching you do comedy, and we really liked comedians of comedy because you guys really took the air out of, and you took the piss out of, like, all the comics taking themselves way too seriously.
Uh-huh.
And when you guys would make, what I liked, I thought it was a delicate balancing act that you guys did, was you would kick the shit out of comics without mentioning any names. But it didn't have to be a name. It could be like a genre or a way to do it. Like when Patton was going like, hey, Friday fart song, that Leah Remini is hot. Which is every radio show we've ever done. Yeah. And then comics making fun of their clothing on stage. Uh-huh. When guys go on stage,
that's the thing I don't see so much anymore. But when we started.
Yeah, Star
What
Search.
year did you start?
87.
Same as me. Yeah. Same exact year. Yeah.
And how many DVDs do you have out? CDs and DVDs combined?
Not that many. I only started doing it because I own. A lot.
That's how we measure success in comedy.
I have 2 specials, 2 half hours, and then 2 CDs. And then I've just finished my 3rd one. But I took a lot of time off, and then came back as a headliner. Because before that, I didn't really have headlining credits. But then I kind of worked on Mr. Show, was on Just Shoot Me, and then barely did stand up in LA for a while. Like
on purpose?
I hated doing the road when I was young.
You've always had the ability to headline.
Yeah, well, I did it. Yeah, but when I stopped, I was just a middle, and then kind of got the credits, and then came back and was instantly a headliner.
Was it
and then
the
we
same
did Comedians
act?
of Comedy. No, it was so different.
So you were working and writing on a new act.
Yeah, doing like alternative rooms, for lack of a better word. Doing like Largo and all those things.
This is before you were living. You come from almost poverty, comedy beginnings. You're like the classic guy. You shared, according to my notes here, you lived with 3 other guys before you were married to your lovely wife, Melanie, I believe.
Yeah.
You slept on a futon and you pissed in Snapple bottles.
Yes.
That's in my show notes.
Yeah. I did that in a couple different states. I did that in New York, too.
Well, my wife had an interesting...
bottles in New York for a while.
She had a great point about it.
That's a hideous choice. And
to which I replied, it's a great choice because it's got a wide mouth for your giant hog that you need to accommodate.
4 in the morning.
The Brian Posehn hog that we all know about.
Giant baby cock.
That's like jumbo shrimp. You know, it's like a military...
I have a big dick for a baby.
Honest lawyer.
You ever see an infant that, like, God, that kid's got a big cock? I've got that
we
as
have
a grown-up.
We have one.
When he got circumcised,
but it's not that big because they're still babies.
No, he's got like a man's. No, I wish I could sell that. The baby has like a 6-inch penis.
It's a bizarre situation in there. It really is.
I'll have to check out your baby's cock before I leave.
Feel free, my friend. Anytime. At any rate, you pissed in Snapple bottles, and I said to my husband, that doesn't seem wise. If you're stoned and sleepy, and you lean over in the night, and let's say you're not well hydrated, your piss tends to look a lot like Snapple.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I knew better.
Yeah.
So you probably
I wasn't going to drink the bed Snapple.
Oh, so you had a separate area for drinking Snapple?
The refrigerator.
Oh, boy, is my face red. I like how you piss in Snapple bottles, and I'm an asshole for not putting them in the right place.
Right.
You're like, no, I wouldn't drink bed Snapple. I'm not an asshole.
There's fridge Snapple. There's bed Snapple.
Seriously, where's your baby?
Well, it comes from the reason I did it is because I sleep in the nude, which no one wants to think about.
I do.
But having roommates,
I'm happy
I'd have to, like when I lived with Wrath and I had to go out to use the bathroom, if they were up late playing video games or whatever,
which was every
they
night.
Saw me cupping my balls. Because I'd walk out completely nude. Like, hey, what's up, fellas?
And you've always slept in the nude?
Yeah.
Why? Just so you're most comfortable?
I sweat a lot because I'm fat. Well, that's now.
Where did you grow up?
Northern California, Sonoma.
You like my incredible interview techniques?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Wait.
What are we talking about?
Oh, yeah, where'd you grow up? So there's a lot of grass up in Northern California, but then you quit smoking pot. How long ago did you quit?
16 months.
And was there did it come to a tipping point where you're like, this has to end?
No, it was a thing. Well, I talked about it. I talked about Marin's thing, but my
you had to get it in there, didn't you?
My therapist.
You had to get Marin in there, didn't you?
No, I'm kidding. My therapist basically called me a pussy because I spent so much time the last couple of years. That's all I was talking about to her. And one day she goes, "Why don't you just do this?" I'd been talking about quitting for years, and it took her kind of calling me out and going, "Just do it today. Quit being a puss and do it today." And so I did.
And you went,
And I called a friend that was in AA, and that kind of helped.
What's that friend's first and last name? And then I need his address too.
He's also a comedian. But
yeah, the list is growing of people that have just tapped out.
Yeah. He tapped out in the late 90s, but.
Yeah, it is interesting, how the longer we stay at this and bob along, as Martin Short once told me, you've always bounced around in the showbiz middle class. And at first I was...
love that. Yeah, you were talking about...
I was so offended, and then I realized he's so right, and now that I've identified it, I can live here and just swim around. This is great.
That's what I've felt for a long time, but you put a name on it. I was listening to the show, and you mentioned the middle class thing, and I was like, oh, man, that's exactly... Yeah, what I've done forever.
And there's so much pie.
It's a nice place to be.
It's a great place to be. You can go on vacation and no one really bothers you. And there's plenty of dough and there's enough pie for everybody.
Yeah. Right.
And I like pie.
Well, I get that. Where do I know? What show do you come out on?
Where do I know you from? That is
but whoever asks never has a TV.
That is a fucking interesting. That's true. Have you ever had that when people go, where do I know you from? And they're like, what do I
say TV? And they go, I don't have a TV? No, that's never.
That's happened to me probably a dozen times. And you probably
My
more.
entire life. Always.
Being a girl, they probably just want to talk to you anyway. And then they're like, where do I know you from?
Well, yeah, and then they want to immediately tell me that they don't, not only do they not watch TV, they don't even have one. Which lets me know that they're...
I think they're all liars.
Incredibly bright, or they're homeless.
Liars.
I don't know. I don't have a TV.
I had a homeless guy.
I always hated people who didn't have TVs.
Yeah,
or don't watch it.
They're creeps.
Yeah, it's not 1975
Yeah.
with 3 channels. There's a whole fucking world out
all
there.
the time.
We read,
I read too, asshole, but I also like
sculpt.
TV.
You know what? We play charades every
Look,
night.
charades,
Come on, you
Parcheesi.
Amish fuck.
We're fixing the mousetrap. When that's up and running, then we'll go back to the TV too. You know, I read when the shows I like are not on.
Right.
In between Intervention and Anthony Bourdain, I read. And then I read only about Intervention.
About TV. Or,
Shit, I fucked that joke up. See, I like you so much as a comic that every time I take out my riff, see?
It jams.
It keeps jamming because I'm like, don't fuck up in front of Posehn. He's the real deal. He was in Comedians of Comedy.
Okay, I have a question for you. I know that you were on the Situation Comedy